Hi, my name is Gullion. I'm giving my optimism speech today. My roots of optimism begin as far back as I can remember, and I'm sure that's true for all of you, whether you know it or not. We all go to sleep at night hoping that we wake up on time in the morning for school, or hoping that the teacher doesn't collect the homework that we didn't do the night before. We don't know any of that for a fact. We can only be, optimistic. Realism would mean that you knew there would be a pop quiz the next day. And there's a fine line between optimism and realism. To practice realism, you must be completely confident and accepting of the facts and the reality of the situation around you. Let's go back to one of the situations I said earlier. Obviously, I would go to bed hoping that the teacher doesn't collect the homework that I didn't do. That's optimism. But say I practice realism. Well, I would face the fact that my homework would most likely get collected, and I would make the decision to either stay in bed and go to sleep or try and finish my homework. And that would be based on the facts and information of the situation. What about another situation? Who here has ever gone and tried to find a four-leaf clover? All of you. Well, the likelihood of you finding one is 1 in 10,000. With knowing that information, you probably wouldn't waste the time to try and go and find one. But people, time and time again, still go and waste all the time just hoping that they find one. I want to give a third and final example, explaining the difference between optimism and realism. My family comes from a very rural part of southern Indiana. And where we're from, the reality of the situation was that if we stayed there, we would have little chance of advancing our standards of living, basically having a better future for ourselves. Knowing that, we moved to Zionsville with the chance of me receiving a better education and my parents both getting better jobs. Optimism would mean us staying where we were at and just hoping that our circumstances would change for the better. The distinction between the two ideologies is very clear. There's a sharp line with optimism on one side and realism on the other. This clear-cut divide can be seen in one sentence. Optimism is hoping and realism is knowing. Thank you.